The Tahoe Truckee Unified School District Board meeting of December 17th. The board did meet in closed session with no reportable action. And at this point, let's see, I'm going to ask, is there a Truckee High School student here? Would you please lead us into, way to go. Will you lead us in the Tahoe, North Tahoe Soccer. Will you stand up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry, Charlie. I didn't mean to throw you under the bus, but we're practicing public speaking, so I thought this would be a good opportunity. Okay. At this point, Superintendent Kramer, are there any changes to the presented agenda?
No changes from staff.
Would board care to make a motion on the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye, pardon me.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you very much. 7.0 student expulsion, Superintendent Kramer?
So, Mrs. Driller, we have, you're going to seek a motion to approve and adopt the recommended suspension expulsion.
Thank you for that. I'm going to read out. The board unanimously adopts the suspended expulsion and agreement to complete a rehabilitation plan for student ID 2025-2026-01 and orders students' plan completion through the term indicated therein by a vote of 5-0. At this point, would someone care to make a motion in public for this suspended expulsion?
I'll make a motion as stated for the suspended expulsion.
Thank you, Danielle. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Chris Hennessy. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's 5-0. Thank you, and I'll give this to you to report. Thank you very much. 8.0, public comment. This period of public comment is for items not listed on the agenda. So if there's any public that needs to fill out a little yellow form, there are forms in the back. And if not, we'll obviously accept your public comment. You do have 3 minutes to speak, and we're going to ask you to come to the dais. And at this point, we value your engagement and we want to hear your perspectives. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone of our procedures to ensure this process remains productive and efficient. When I call, let's do this one afterwards, and we'll skip on that one. Since I only have one, if anyone else would like to come up, please let me know. Stephanie Bacon, would you please come to the dais?
Restart on my time, Ed, since the microphone wasn't working?
Because I need my whole 3 minutes. Sorry.
No,
It's hard. It's hard. Are we good? Okay. All right. So you know who I am, but I have 3 points I want to make. I'm going to invite you to help me with it and see how it goes. So as some of you may know, I submitted my resignation earlier this month after being a part of the TTUSD team for 25 years. And I totally recognize that the timing of this is messy, and I'm so grateful for the administrators within the district that are giving me both grace and guidance at this time. But also, I really just wanted to communicate how sincerely grateful I am for all that TTUSD has supported me through in the last couple of decades. I mean, from back in the 2000s when they supported me getting my reading specialist credential, all the way through the academic coaching certifications that I got, and the research that I was able to do within the district with support to get my master's and my doctorate. I am really grateful because I've been a passionate educator and I've needed an outlet for this passion. TTUSD has been there whether I was a TTA president or just a teacher, and I'm really grateful for both the administration, the board members, and all of my colleagues. And so for the next point that I like to make, I'm going to invite you to join me. I'm going to lead you in an optional 30 seconds of breath work. And to do that, we're going to do 15 blow breaths. They sound like this. They come from your gut, in and out of your mouth. So go ahead, if it feels aligned, to just close your eyes. And I'll count the breaths for you, and we're going to hold at the top. And only do it if you're feeling well and you're, it's optional. So we're going to go. Inhale. Hold it for just a second. Exhale. How'd that feel? So in my time at TTUSD, I've gone from being the teacher who graded papers and checked my emails during the mindful moments at the staff meeting, to a teacher who does mindfulness and nervous system regulation and SEL during every period of every day based on my students' needs. Both my research and my lived experience ignited this change, and I see a dramatic difference in my students. They are calmer, more focused, and more willing to learn. I'm leaving the classroom because I want to continue to have an impact on student learning, but from a different angle. I'll be helping school leaders and teachers embody SEL, social and emotional learning, not just teach it. Embodied SEL is a cost-effective, meaningful way to teach SEL in schools without altering the master schedule or buying another expensive curriculum or software. If TTUSD is interested, I'd be happy to work with you, because when adults are supported and regulated, the ripple effect in the classroom is felt by every student in every classroom every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for giving it to us in writing as well. Moving on to 9.0, Superintendent Kramer?
Yes, and at this time, we would have our student rep reports. I know Sierra High Coldstream was not able to be here tonight. Quinn is already traveling. I don't know, do we have a Truckee High School student rep for a report tonight? Okay, or how about North Tahoe High School? Do we have a student rep? Ah, wonderful, come on up, thank you.
Hi, everyone. We're just here to share a brief update on what's been happening at North Tahoe High School as we head into winter break. And we did have a slideshow with some pretty great pictures on it, but we couldn't figure out how to share it in time. So just throwing that out there.
All right, so students attended a Native American dance assembly featuring the Red Hoop dancers through Arts for Schools. They supported the English 9 and 10 curriculum where students are reading novels by Native American authors. Students also reflected through field journals, connecting to the performance and nature and storytelling.
It's pretty cool. We're continuing to provide students with college and career exposure. This included visits to Chico State and Butte College, as well as opportunities with Tahoe Mountain Medical Center, Paul Mitchell, and career speakers in automotive and HVAC. These experiences help students explore a wide range of post-high school options. Fall Conference Night at Kings Beach Elementary included a Kermesse fundraiser hosted by GRIT, which raised over $1,000. While attendance was average, families shared positive feedback and appreciated the opportunity for one-on-one conversations with teachers. We hosted 2 well-attended information nights, one on college admissions and one on financial aid, including a FAFSA workshop for senior families. Families found these sessions very helpful, and recordings are available on our website.
All right, and then, Link Crew organized gratitude grams before Thanksgiving, giving students a chance to share appreciation with staff and classmates. Spirit days, door decorating, and lunch activities have continued to strengthen our school culture. The Booster Club's Elegant Affair was a huge success and raised funds to support athletic programs and winter sports. And our band performance for Toys and for Tots has holiday concerts with NTS tomorrow.
They also performed at River Ranch, which went well, the jazz band. Students participated in Cookie Week, and they sent treats to the Truckee Senior Center. And 9th graders attended the annual Avalanche Awareness Assembly, and the Telluride Mountain Film Festival Assembly is scheduled for Friday. We are looking forward to winter break, hopefully some snow, and returning ready for finals. Thank you for your continued support of our students and staff, and we wish everyone a safe and restful winter break. Thanks.
Would you, before you leave, would you just tell us your names?
Kyra Patton.
I'm Randy Martinez.
Okay, thank you very much. It's important that we get that first.
Oh, I'm
when you
so
start off.
Sorry.
Yes, I have that names with an exclamation, but that was awesome. This is our favorite part of the entire evening.
Oh, good to hear.
Okay, so at this point, we can all go home, right? Thank you very much for doing all that.
Yeah,
Thank you, guys.
Moving on, I know, tough act to follow, Superintendent Quinn, but here you go. We're going to do 10.0.
Thank you,
Superintendent's report.
President Driller. And before I start the presentation, I just want to express my gratitude to the community. You're here again tonight, and throughout this process, you have been so engaged and involved, asking questions, coming up with new solutions, and brainstorming. So we just appreciate that you're here. I know that there's diverse views on our athletic situation and how best to move forward. And over the last 8 months, what I hope everyone has seen is how much our community cares about our students. The community and the district, we want our students to have a full athletic experience throughout high school, and the district has been seeking a path where that would not be disrupted. So I appreciate that you're again here tonight for the update on our athletics situation. So during the presentation, I'm just going to try to be super succinct on the background of why we're here, give a quick overview of the current situation, and then talk about our next steps. After that, there will be time for public comment, and President Driller will kind of review the procedure so that that's efficient and productive. And then finally, there would be time for a board comment. This is an informational item, so there is no board action tonight on this item. So background, since last April, the school district has been caught. We are stuck between 2 different authorities, the California Department of Education and State Law versus the Nevada Interscholastic Activities Association, because these different authorities have different mandates. So California State Law and Education Code allows sports eligibility for students based on gender expression, and NI2A limits eligibility to biological sex. And so as we've worked through this last spring, we realized that no matter which authority we're complying with, we are leaving students behind. So we have been stuck. In June, the decision was made to delay switching to CIF indefinitely. And there were key factors that led to that decision. First, it was logistical challenges. It's very complex, and I know it's hard for people that don't live in our community in the mountains to understand what winter is like here and what that means, and what it means to live on this side of the mountains compared to CIF competitors who would be on the other side, on the west side. So it's very complex. And through that process last spring, Even when we were considering a one-year delay for CIF, we realized that wasn't enough time to find solutions for the challenges. So thankfully, second, a significant barrier was removed. So the part of this for NI2A was coming up with a new sports physical form to show eligibility for sports. And the first version created so many barriers for us and for our medical providers at the Tahoe Forest Hospital System. Thankfully, they worked hard, they collaborated. NI2A made some key changes to the form, and our healthcare providers now can clear our students. So that was a major hurdle that was removed for us. So this meant that our students could be cleared to play sports in NI2A, and that we would have a sports program for them to participate in this year, which they are, and they're doing great as usual. Both academic state champions and state champions on the sports side. And then the other decision for saying we're not going to take any immediate action to switching to CIF has to do with kind of the legal landscape. So there are active cases between the state of California and the federal Department of Justice. And so we know that it was very ambiguous back in June, and so because of that, we made the decision not to make an immediate switch to CIF. And because I'm talking about legal things, at this time, I'm going to turn it over to our district's legal counsel. Mr. Matt Jewel Darlington is here, and he's going to provide more information for all of us about what the current legal landscape is like for athletics.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, board. Thank you, members of the public, for being here. And thank you for the work that the administration has done on this issue. Before I go into the legal piece of this, I just want to compliment the district's administration through the superintendent and her team and the hard work that has been put into this issue. There have been multiple meetings, multiple writings, multiple memos, consultation with our office as legal counsel, and we have worked incredibly hard together, but I just want to give a shout out and an applause to the administration for the hard work you've done on this unprecedented issue. So good job on that. This is in terms of a legal landscape, we are yet again at a place of unprecedented issues. And the district in this instance has been now, and this is available to the public, by the way, has been ordered through CDE to implement a corrective action order in terms of transitioning away from NIAA and transitioning to CIF sports. What's also been made available is a corrective action plan, and we'll get into more of those details, but in terms of that plan, that's also been made available to the public that has been turned in to CDE. In terms of questions that have been posed to me to answer, because these have been questions that have been brought by the public, in terms of why the district does not bring an action against NIAA, we want to be very clear about why at this time the district is not choosing that. The first is, as I've stated, there is an action order decision that came out from CDE stating that the district was required to transition out of CIF and to come up with a plan by this school year to start its transition process. That plan has been implemented, and we believe that by bringing an action against NIAA itself, that would be counter to what CDE has required, and thus there could be legal exposure. The other is more practical, which is that we fear that by bringing an action against NIAA, this could have unintended consequences of creating harm to district students as we go through this plan that has been outlined and is available for review. So that's the main gist of, in a broad brush way, why we aren't bringing an action against NIAA. In terms of the other question that has been asked and has come up repeatedly as a question is what happens if the district doesn't comply with a CDE corrective action? And again, this is available for review as well. And in the CDE corrective action, there is a requirement of how transition is supposed to take place. The district has complied with that and turned that in. But if the district were to not move forward with more corrective actions or the corrective action that were issued, there could be sanctions brought against the district. There could be court intervention that could happen against the district or others. And then I don't want to weigh the harms of these potential problems, but there could also be a withholding of funds that would stop operations for the district. And most likely not just sports. So again, it could have severe consequences against the district. And then in terms of what other complaints or legal processes could occur, as the superintendent mentioned, there's 2 pending cases right now in the court. There's probably an unending amount of potential consequences I could lay out for you all in terms of actions that could be coming. We hope that there aren't any actions that come against the district. We hope that what we can do is all work together through this process in harmony, and we can transition as we're being told to do by the state. And then we hope also that if there are potential actions that come, that we can be consulted with and work together as a team through the community as we're seeing all of us working together so well this evening. And I like that we started off with students sharing their stories tonight. It reminds us of why we're here. And that's why I also want to just again applaud the superintendent and her team in terms of keeping students centered first in terms of the approaches that we've had here. I do know, because of what we've shared, what I've talked about with our board, and I can't reveal too much because of legal issues, and I can't go there, is that the number one issue is how we approach this so it affects students in the most positive way. That's the goal. And as council, that's how I've been directed to help and assist the district in this matter. So that's our legal framework of where we are, and I appreciate you having me here this evening. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. We'll go back to you, Superintendent
Yep.
Gilmer. Yes.
So the reason why we're talking about this tonight, and Matt alluded to it, things have changed for us since June. Over the summer, a former student filed a complaint with the California Department of Education against the school district. And the individual filed on behalf of a protected class of students within the state of California. And that is a group of students that we left behind when we made the decision to remain in NI2A. So as council shared, the CDE reviewed the complaint and has mandated us to move to CIF for the 26-27 school year. We did request an extension, timeline extension, and we submitted a request for reconsideration. And the CDE denied both of those requests. And we do have copies of that reconsideration request, hard copies on the back table, and that is available on the TTUSD website as well as the initial investigation report from CDE. So as you heard from legal counsel tonight, we are legally required to follow the CDE corrective actions. So to fulfill the first corrective action, we had to turn in our transition plan, and we turned that in last Friday. And the handouts for that plan are on the back table and also available on the website. And so in short, the plan we submitted includes the district, TTUSD, applying for CIF membership this winter. And then our full CIF membership would not begin until the 28-29 school year. And this is to align with CIF's normally 4-year cycle of realignment. And so for the next 2 years, for 26-27 and 27-28, we would continue with full competition, including playoffs and possibly state championships within NI2A. And I just want to give a shout out to Tim Jackson and NI2A and Commissioner Garrison with CIF. They are partners with us. They want our students playing athletics. And so just know that they're right here with us and they really want to see our kids participating in sports. They've been amazing partners. So we submitted this plan to try to preserve a stable student-athlete experience. You know from last spring when we were working through this and talking with CIF, how difficult it was for us to switch and be integrated into the CIF league system. And so it really is best for us to follow their normal realignment cycle and join in 28-29 and begin competing then. So we feel like this 3-year transition plan is what's best for our students to avoid unintended detrimental consequences to our athletic programs and, most importantly, our students. The details will continue to evolve as we work with CIF and NI2A. Again, agreements will need to be drawn up, and legal counsel will help with that. So even though we had that plan, and I know one of the newspapers printed that, just know that it's going to keep evolving as we work together. So along with that, as we talked about, there's still a lot of unknowns that could happen, so we just wanted to be transparent. We submitted that plan to CDE. Things could happen. CDE could reply and insist that we move next year in 26-27, even though that puts us in an independent status and not allowing us a league affiliation. And you'll see in the plan what some of those detrimental effects are. And as legal counsel mentioned, there's other legal actions that could be taken against the district, other external factors that could disrupt our current plan. But we want to be clear that our intent is to participate in NI2A for the next 2 school years, finish out this year, 2 more, and then join CIF as full competition in 28-29. So then, where do we go from here? All of those challenges we talked about in June, they're all still there. We still have the concerns about safe travel in the winter. We still have the switch of sports seasons for soccer and tennis. And so we need to work together to figure out the solutions over the next 2 years. You know, we started looking into that in the spring, what it would look like for turf fields, field houses, and so on. So we want to bring together a diverse representation of coaches, staff, community members, parents, and students, and really start tackling them one by one and figure out what's possible so that when the switch to CIF happens in 28-29, that we're all feeling good about the program, the sports opportunities for our students, and just work together to make it the best we possibly could. So at that point, that concludes my informational update, and we really value you being here, and we're going to switch to public comment, and so President Driller will kind of review what that will look like. So thank you.
Thank you very much for that, and I echo what legal counsel did indicate, that you guys have put a lot of work into it, everybody, and then our athletic directors, I think they were around, and our principals. We appreciate all of that effort and time and understanding that the switch is something that we did not decide on. Let me just quickly do the public comment sort of overview. I do have some people's names on here. If for some reason I missed it, let me know and we'll get you in to come up. For those of you that have written here, thank you for being here. We value your engagement and we want to hear your perspectives. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone of our procedures to ensure this process remains productive and efficient. I did start that before, so now we'll try again. When I call your name, please approach the podium. Make sure that little green light is on your speaker, and state your full name for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak, so please keep an eye on the timer, which you notice will be up on the screen, and try to conclude your thoughts when your time is up so everyone has a chance to be heard. Please understand that the board is here to listen and take notes. We will not be answering questions or responding to comments at this time. This ensures that we are focused entirely on hearing what you say. Finally, if you hear something that you strongly agree with, rather than clapping or cheering, please raise your hand. This allows the speaker to be heard clearly. We have a district staff member in the overflow room who will take notes on which topics community members agreed upon. We ask that everyone remain respectful of our students, staff, and community during these comments. With that, our first speaker is Todd Winter, and on the backside is going to be, is it Hean? Hean Winter. So be ready. Thank you. There are 2 seats up front, if anyone needs a seat.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Todd Winter. I'm a parent of a current TTUSD student athlete and incoming freshman, both of whom play winter sports. I've been a recreational coach in Truckee Kids for the past 10 years. I'm a local business owner and attorney, and I'm the current high school girls basketball coach. Accordingly, I believe I'm uniquely qualified to speak to you all on about the serious ramifications and unintended consequences the recent mandate to join the CIF will have on our student athletes. First, with respect to the girls basketball program, we have about 18 girls out for basketball, and about a third of those girls are soccer players. If soccer becomes a winter sport, the number of girls playing basketball will plummet to the point we may not even be able to have both JV and varsity teams, let alone the ability to be competitive with other schools. We already know there are only a couple incoming freshmen that don't play soccer. As such, any requirements to join the CIF League over the summit will be catastrophic to girls basketball here in Truckee. Secondly, if this mandate to join the CIF proceeds, both my kids and hundreds of other kids will be forced to take buses over the summit for half of their games, subjecting them to foreseeable harm by way of serious traffic accidents traversing the summit in winter at night, which could result in serious injury or death. This is not a matter of if, but when these accidents occur on our winter roads over the summit, which means it's foreseeable and therefore negligent for TTUSD to allow this mandate to go forward on that basis alone. There's also academic health and mental health sides of this issue. We just had basketball games in Dayton last night, which is only an hour away, and the varsity kids didn't even get home till midnight on a Tuesday. So by forcing our student athletes to travel to and from the Sacramento area for CIF League games, it's going to result in even later nights, less sleep, less time on their education, and more stress and mental health concerns. So as a parent of TTUSD student athletes, this is unacceptable to move for their safety, health, and well-being. As a basketball coach, with soccer becoming a winter sport, plus the additional travel times and the potential harm from that travel, Truckee will be lucky to have enough girls to even make a team. Finally, as an attorney, this mandate presents a dangerous, impossible, and impracticable requirement from which to comply. Based on all of this, my wife and I drafted a proposed bill which provides a legal path to be consistent with California law and maintain our current standing and involvement with the NIAA. This bill is based on precedent set by TTUSD's rural exception to the 8:30 a.m. start time, and it's further bolstered by the foreseeable harm to our student athletes and those of the CIF traversing our dangerous mountain summits in winter. Despite the recent 2-year scheduling delay that you'd like to propose, we can't sit on our hands and wait for this to get done. TTUSD needs to act on behalf of our community by pushing this bill forward with us in the next legislative session starting January 5th to provide for a permanent exception to the current law and protect our student athletes' health and well-being. Thank you.
Whoa, can I just say that you made it right? Did you practice? Because that bell rang just as you said thank you. Thank you for that. Ian, thank you. And then up next we have Caleb, is it Dira? Diro, thank you. There's an O. Thank you very much.
Good evening, President Driller, Trustees, and Superintendent Kramer. My name is Hian Winter. That was my husband. He did a magnificent job. I echo his comments, and then I also would like to add and request for your support for this legislation. It creates, the situation we're in now creates a very unique and dangerous situation for us that this legislation would address. And it would allow districts like ours to safely participate in interscholastic athletics, modeled on the same rural exception the legislature already recognizes and Truckee has already been granted for school start times. I have 3 main reasons why this bill matters to TTUSD, even if TTUSD is allowed to remain in the NIAA for the next 2 years. The first point is the safety problem does not go away. The core issue is student safety. Donner Summit will always present winter travel hazards, storms, chain controls, closures, and nighttime driving. This bill addresses a permanent geographic reality. Point 2, this is not just about TTUSD students. Interscholastic athletics are reciprocal. If TTUSD were forced into a CIF California-based league, CIF schools would either have to send their students over Donner Summit in winter conditions or forfeit games. Either outcome harms students statewide. This bill protects all student athletes involved. Point 3, the bill is necessary even if TTUSD stays in the NIAA. League structures and policies can change quickly. Without a statutory solution, TTUSD will face the same safety issue again in the future. Supporting this bill provides long-term stability and certainty. This bill does not weaken non-discrimination protections. It simply ensures that statewide rules do not endanger students in rural mountain communities. I respectfully urge the board to support this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Han. After Caleb will be Beth Curtis.
Good evening. My name is Caleb Diro. I am a father of 4 and a youth pastor here in town. I represent a lot of young ladies who are afraid to speak at this meeting. This policy or this move, this transition, it supports a horrible and dangerous ideology that a human being's identity is based on their sexuality. Humans are much more than that. Their value exists. I'm a youth pastor, and Christians believe that every single human being is made in the image of God and therefore eternal, and they will outlast cultures, nations, and governments and all these different things. They're incredibly valuable. Dignity is extended to every single human. And this transition is saying that your sexuality is your identity, and that is a dangerous thing to promote in our country and with our students. There's so much more than that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Caleb. And then after Beth is another Beth Bourne.
All right. Good evening. This is the third time that I've appeared before you to speak on this topic. I'm here as a concerned citizen of Truckee. I've lived in Truckee full-time for 26 years. Both of my children went to TTUSD schools kindergarten through senior year and played sports in the NIAA and had a great time. And I'm grateful for their experiences, and I want other Truckee children to get to have those same experiences. As you know, I'm also a civil rights attorney who practices education law and represents teachers. I'm very familiar with the law at issue. I'm very familiar with your lawyer. We have the fun of arguing regularly. The law is unambiguous and mandatory, and I told you when you voted to stay in the NIAA that I was concerned that the district was offering a false option, that you would try to stay and the CDE would say you couldn't. And that's exactly what happened. And so I came at that time to ask you to bring an action against the NIAA regulation, because the only thing that changed was the NIAA regulation. The NIAA regulation, it's not a law, it's a regulation, and it's directly counter to the Nevada Constitution that contains protections for gender identity that were voted into the Constitution in 2022. So at this point, I'm concerned that the corrective action plan to stay in the NIAA for 2 years is more pie in the sky. The CDE is not going to let you do it because you can't, the CDE is in court protecting its law against the current federal administration. They're not going to fight to uphold the law and say to you at the same time, okay, you can ignore it for 2 years. So what I would like to suggest is that at this point, we're all on the same side. Everyone here wants their students to be able to play sports in the NIAA. So my suggestion is to take 3 months, seek declaratory and injunctive relief, try and get the regulation struck down. You don't have to stop following the corrective action plan. You don't have to tell the CDE to take a hike. But once that regulation is gone, then the laws match. You're no longer between a rock and a hard place. I have been talking with the Nevada ACLU along with Matt Hippler. They are prepared to represent the district if the district wants that. If the district doesn't want that, and there's individual student athletes that unfortunately have to challenge the regulation on their own, they will take those people on as plaintiffs. I disagree that this would cause harm. I disagree that the district's going to lose money for attempting to challenge the regulation. And again, if the regulation is struck down, then there's no conflict and the district can stay in the NIAA. But I worry that the corrective action plan is promising the children and families something that we all know the CDE is going to say can't happen. So I'd like us to come together as a community. Whether you agree with trans rights or not, we all have the same goal at this point, and I think we could act together for our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. And the last one on our list right now is, oh, there you are, Beth. Thank you. And then if there's anyone else, please let me know. Okay, thanks, Chris.
Good evening. My name is Beth Bourne. I was a former collegiate athlete and also competed for CIF when CIF followed Title IX. So my family was impacted by this insane gender identity ideology that's being taught in California schools. My daughter came out as a trans boy along with many of her friends when she was only in 8th grade. She learned in her school, and these are the books, you know, in our California schools here in Truckee as well. These are books talking about Jazz Jennings, a boy who liked wearing dresses, whose mother said he was actually a trans girl. He had his penis amputated when he was only 17. He's never going to be able to have an orgasm or have a child. Sorry, this is the book here. This is another book in our schools. This shows a young girl who's had her breasts amputated. This is in our schools in California, telling girls that they can become boys by having their breasts chopped off, taking hormones. You all know this, right? Right now, the curriculum that you're using here in Truckee, you teach gender identities, that there's multiple, maybe 18, 20 different gender identities. You have tampons in your boys' bathrooms starting in 3rd grade here in Truckee. That's California state law. And you allow your teachers and counselors to secretly socially transition kids at school without telling their parents, because that's California law. But I'm here because I've been traveling around the state. I've been going to CIF competitions. You can see some of the videos and photos I've taken of boys competing in girls basketball. I was at the state meet when A.B. Hernandez, everybody knows this, the emperor has no clothes. This is a male who's competing in the high jump, long jump, and triple jump, and he was beating all the women because he is a male. And CIF, in their stupidity, said that he could still compete at the state championship, but they would have him be on the podium with the girl who won, and he would stand there next to her. So we all had to play along with this, right? I mean, we all know we're lying to children. It's impossible for a girl to become a boy. It's impossible for a boy to become a girl. Right now, we have countries across Europe, we have half the states in America who have said no more surgeries, no more cutting off the breasts of teen girls, no more giving kids puberty blockers and hormones. This is a medical scandal that's unfolding. And I just want to thank all of these young girls and boys who are speaking out right now, because it takes so much courage. And for all the reasons, including the weather and the safety and the sports season, it is so logical for you guys to stay in the Nevada conference forever, not just the last 40 years, but forever. California's insane. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Chris, that's you.
Thank you. My name is Chris Brown. I'm a parent of a student, 2 students in the district. I'm an attorney, and I've spoken with you guys previously at the previous board meetings. You know, first, I just want to emphasize that I think our community is a very accepting community. I think the majority of the opposition you're going to see from this community to this move is procedural in nature and is really focused on the harm this move is going to cause. The opposition to this move at this point, it does not need to be based on the politics of this issue. It really doesn't. Procedurally, it makes no sense to undertake this move right now when we've got multiple federal courts teeing up this issue for an ultimate resolution. We've got the United States Department of Justice directly challenging these rules, and that's in court right now. The best thing we could do at this point, and I don't know what standing that this board has to do it, but this community could do it, is to seek an injunction. And it doesn't even have to be a ruling on the merits of the underlying issue, You don't have to challenge the California Department of Education rules or the California law or the policies or any of it. You can simply say, this issue is up in front of the courts, and a lot of harm is going to be incurred if we undertake this move at this point, only to maybe later find out it was not necessary. That's a lot. You know, I learned earlier from one of our earlier attorneys speaking that the Nevada Constitution, is not in keeping with what they're doing with their rules. It's another basis to seek a TRO. It doesn't have to be political. I think more could be done. You know, there's a federal fight brewing over this issue. That should provide enough cover to get a temporary restraining order on this move and enjoin the California Department of Education. I would urge you to consult with your counsel on those approaches. I've already been in contact with attorneys in the private lawsuits that are pending. I have a call with one of them tomorrow. I'd be happy to consult with your counsel and share thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. At this point, I have no other comments on my list. Is there anyone else who would like to come speak? If you do, would you please come to the podium and then state your name so that we can record it? You both can go. Yeah.
My name is Ava. I'm a part of the Truckee track and field team, and from what I've gathered on this information is that, it's dangerous to go over the summit period with road closures, storms, chain control, and that just doesn't seem safe, at all, and, you're going to be prone to maybe, you're going to be prone to, danger. Second of all, I don't see how it would be fair for female athletes to compete against a biological male because they're stronger, they're taller, they're faster, and it's just not fair. And I just don't see a point in, completely making a switch yet. And I think that if there's any opportunity to stay in the NIAA, I think that you should, take that opportunity.
Thank you. Ava, do me a favor. Could you just tell us your last name?
Cockrum.
Cockrum, thank you. I just put Truckee Track and Field. Thank you.
Hello. I'm not an attorney. I'm just a citizen here from Truckee.
Sorry, could you just state your name for us?
Sure. It's Carolina Delatorre. I have 2 daughters here. We have lived, worked, played here. We have a business here as well. We've been over for 27 years, so fully familiar with the entire school system. I just wanted to bring up a couple of points. I was listening to everybody talk in terms of obviously the safety, but what people didn't mention was, and this was talked about in the last meeting, you guys already tried this route back in 81, 82. You guys were a part of originally the CIF, and you moved to the NIAA because there was the storms were so bad, and you can look at that historically. You guys decided at that point to be like, you know what, this is not a good idea. To someone else's point, it would be dangerous for us to drive over the summit. It would be dangerous for people to come over the other way to come and play with us. So again, you've already tried this. So I don't know why we're kind of beating a dead horse and doing it again on the point of, because the CDE mandated this. The other thing I wanted to mention was, and I don't think anything was mentioned on this, we talk about equality, we talk about women's rights, we talk about feminism, we talk about raising a community of strong women. But what are we saying when I look at my own daughters? Hey, this is uncomfortable. We tell them, speak up. Don't let anybody bring you down. Don't let anybody tell you that you're less. Voice your opinion. Don't silence it. When you tell them, okay, that they have to share a locker room with a biological male, okay, but it makes them feel uncomfortable because it makes the other person feel uncomfortable. What are we saying to our young women? That you're not important, that you don't matter, and that and that's not equality. And that's squashing down what they need. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for all of these. These are amazing comments. Thank you very much for taking the time to participate and add more context to what we're dealing with. Please know that all of these comments, I know we're all scribbling frantically, but we have it recorded as well. But if you have any more comments and concerns, please do reach out to us. But at this point, I will conclude the public section of this 10.1, and I will, again, thank you all, and then I would encourage you just to listen to the district update before you all decide to leave. Thank you, Superintendent Kramer.
Did you want to allow for any board questions, or do you want to move to 10.2?
Oh, my gosh. Golly gee, I was so excited about my closure. Board, do you have any comments or questions to add to this? Thank you.
I just want to thank all the parents and students that have been participating throughout this discussion. I just feel a lot of passion from everyone and a lot of sense of community, which I think we've talked about the last time, that where we live, one size fits all doesn't work for us. And so I think that's where we're struggling right now, is feeling stuck, that we're being handed a one size fits all for a community that is not a one size fits all. So I appreciate the ideas. I think that's a new aspect since we last met, that the community is really coming forward and saying, we want to be part of the solution. And I think, as much as we sit here, we are not the answer to everything. We do have ideas, but the more that the parents and students are coming forward and bringing ideas, the more we have to give to, our support system to be able to look at other options and ideas. So I really appreciate that there's been some new kind of information presented tonight. And I think, since our attorney is in the room, he's taking notes, we've been taking notes, and I think that gives us something to look at. Could more be done? And I think that's really the lens that we're using right now, is that we are here to do what's best for all of our students, like 100%.
Thank you, Danielle. Pat?
What Danielle said.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I will say that, this is something that we are proposing, and if I want to make sure that we're clear, this hasn't happened, correct? We are still hoping that that's the step in terms of how we're going to make the next step. But I will say that we've definitely learned some, again, this is why we do this. There are some new things. I would encourage you to come on that committee with us so that we can come up with some solutions. Legal aspects are always interesting. We don't like to be first and foremost in this one, but really do know that we're listening to you, and we don't have all the answers, but we want you to know that obviously we are trying to do the best for our programs, like school and soccer's and tennis and sports. And so, it's not an easy one, but again, know that we need you. So don't be shy. Be nice, but don't be shy. With that, anything else? Okay, we'll close that and move on to Superintendent's report, and then I'll let you guys all leave if you want to.
Thank you, President Driller. So I'm very excited to celebrate that the district received a 2025 Golden Bell in the Family and Community Engagement category. We received this recognition on December 3rd at the annual School Boards Association Conference. And we were recognized for our innovative and systematic community engagement initiative that we've been participating in. I think this is our 4th year. And so we're really working on transforming traditional school parent meetings into collaborative spaces and engaging in two-way conversation. And we're so excited that we were recognized by the California School Boards Association, and yes, we receive an actual bell that rings, which is super cool. So congratulations to all of our team members that were a part of that and came down for the celebration. And in more good news, the Tahoe Truckee Community Foundation and the Sierra Community House have annual awards. And this year, 2 of our staff members were recognized. Mr. Craig Rowe, a Truckee High School teacher, received the Chris Ballin Award for exemplary advocacy for cultural competency, equality, and social justice for our communities. And then you. Dr. Anna Marie Cohen, who's in the room tonight, received the Partner of the Year Award and recognition for her regional collaboration with our hospitals and our own school nursing team to provide the eyeglasses and eye exams and lots of innovative ideas. So congratulations, Dr. Cohen. And then a shout out to Alder Creek Middle School staff and students. They have made it on the Educational Results Partnership Honor Roll for 2025. This honor roll is produced by a group of chambers of commerce throughout the state of California. And they monitor the state assessment data. And so what Alder Creek has achieved is shown over the last 3 years of our state testing that all of our subgroups have met a certain standard. So that's our English learners, our students with disabilities, socially, economically disadvantaged students. And so this is just a great honor, and it's a really neat group of business leaders looking at the quality of education in California. So congratulations to Alder Creek Middle School. And then I'm excited to help unveil 2 new murals. The top one is at Truckee Elementary School, and then the second one on the bottom is at Kings Beach Elementary School. Both of these are collaborative projects. Truckee Elementary's mural was partly funded by Proposition 28 funds, and so each student made a tile, and then they were put together to that cool Journey of Learning mural that can be seen in their transition kindergarten and kindergarten wing. And then the Kings Beach mural, 5th grade teacher Heather Dunning with their PTO, which is called PACE's Financial Support, brought a local Reno artist, Joe C. Rock, to collaborate with the 5th graders on the design and then the installation. And so they both turned out terrific. So we're very grateful for the additional funds through Proposition 28 and that we have great community partners and that our kids get to participate in making these beautiful murals. And then we just want to thank the community for Measure AA. It really does so much to enrich the educational experiences for our students. It provides over $5 million annually that go directly back into the classroom and hires additional staff. So just yesterday we had our Measure AA Citizen Oversight Committee meeting where we showcase how the funds are being spent. Yesterday, Truckee Elementary and North Tahoe High School shared how the Measure AA funds are being utilized and gave great examples. And we have 2 more meetings this year in March and April, and the public's always welcome to come hear how we're spending the dollars that our community voted in place about 8 years ago. So thank you to Measure AA in the community for all you do for us. And then finally, I just hope everyone has a great winter break, and I really do hope we get some snow. I mean, this has been crazy, so have a great winter break, and we understand if you want to take a moment and head out, but you're welcome to stay if you would like.
Thank you all very much. We will take a 2-second break to get people to move if you would like to. We'll take 2 minutes.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you for returning back to us after our 2-minute break. Really appreciate our public being here and all the public comments. We're going to move right to 11.0 Business Services. Superintendent Kramer?
Yes, and for this item, we'll turn to our Assistant Superintendent, Chief Business Officer, Mr. Todd Rivera.
Thank you, Superintendent Kramer, President Driller, members of the board. So tonight, we're asking the board to ratify the 2025-2026 financial and operational agreement between TTUSD and Sierra Expeditionary Learning School. This is something we bring to the board annually, and this agreement provides highlights and overview of the different operational and state compliance requirements. Also, it identifies the contracted services that CELS contracts with TTUSD for, which includes special education services, transportation. They also participate in our expanded learning opportunities program. And really the only change, significant change from last year's agreement is that we did add some additional billable services for technology services, and that's because CELS has kind of come on to our network and is now following our technology security protocols. So there's a cost associated with staffing and also additional licenses that we need to purchase.
Thank you for that, Todd. Are there any comments or questions from the board? No.
Not about this specifically, but related, that I just want to recognize that CELS offers such a great program for our families within the district, and I've been always impressed by their staff, and the students just seem to excel there, so it's an awesome option.
That is the one charter school that we do actually monitor, so it's great to hear that when they come to us, they're actually, when they move up to the high school level, they're well educated. I do want to say thank you for including the CELS Tech Ed umbrella with them. It makes a whole lot of sense in terms of we're talking about safety of child's technological advancements, and I think that that's important, that those are our students anyway, so I commend you on that. And if there's no other comments or questions, would someone make a motion to approve, or make a motion on 11.1, please. I'll make a motion to approve 11.1. Is there a second? I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you very much. 11.2, Superintendent Kramer.
And for this item, we turn back to Mr. Rivera.
Thank you. So tonight we're presenting our first interim report for the 2025-26 school year. And just first off, I'd like to thank Tricia Kowalski for all her hard work in preparing this report and getting it ready in a very short time frame. So thank you to her, and that is our Director of Fiscal Services. Just a quick overview, what the first interim covers is basically any budgetary changes that have occurred since we adopted our budget in June through October 31st. So this is all the known changes through October 31st. And I'm going to cover kind of the major changes to our revenue and expenditures of our general fund specifically. And then there's also included as a requirement a 3-year projection. It's called our multi-year projection that ensures that we're going to remain fiscally solvent over the current fiscal year and the 2 subsequent fiscal years. And based on the analysis, we are going to receive a positive certification. That's a certification you want for your interim reports, and that shows that we can meet our financial obligations over the next 3 years. So just to review budget reporting process, we're at the first interim report. We will be bringing our final audit for the 24-25 school year at our first January meeting. And then we start working on the second interim report, which covers all the changes that have occurred to our budget through January 31st. And that will be presented in March. And then we start on the 26-27 year with the local control accountability plan and the new budget in June. And then, of course, we go on to close out the current fiscal year. So we're always in that 3-year cycle at one time. So revenue changes, there's a lot of explanation in the narrative of the first interim report, so I'll go through this very quickly. If you have any questions, feel free to stop me. So overall, our revenues in our general fund increased by just over $2.9 million. A large chunk of this was our property taxes. Our assessed values came in higher than what we were projecting at the time of budget adoption. We were budgeting for 4.89%. It came in at about 6.29% between all 3 counties. That gave us an increase of approximately $722,000 in property taxes. In addition, there were some changes to our in lieu property tax payment to the charter school and other charter schools in our area, and that decreased by about $10,000. So for us, that's actually an increase in our revenue because we're paying out less. We had an increase to our community redevelopment agency funds of $64,000. That's general fund unrestricted discretionary money. A slight increase to our IDEA, that's the federal special ed funding of $29,000. And then we did see a decrease to our forest reserve funding. We just budgeted that a little bit too high. And I'm happy to say there was questions on whether the federal government was going to renew that. It's called the Secure Rural Schools Act. And they did pass that just recently, so we will be seeing our revenue for that. And then another big ticket item was we received some one-time funding, the Student Support and Professional Development Block Grant. That's discretionary money. That was approximately $1.1 million for us, and that's what we actually used to fund our one-time payment for our employees through negotiations. We had a decrease to home-to-school transportation reimbursement. That's based on our prior year transportation expenditures, and we continue to have additional vacancy savings, so when we projected this, we thought we would spend more. So subsequently, we reduced this year's award because our expenditures weren't as high last year. We also received additional one-time funding through the Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant. This is basically an extension of the Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant that was introduced in 2022-23. They actually added funds to this and awarded school districts with one-time funding this year as well. We're estimating an increase in our interest earnings from what we adopted at budget as well. And then we do not budget all of our local grants and donations until we actually start seeing those come in and we approve them. So we had a large increase with our local grants and donations of $280,000. And then we did receive a one-time payment through Schools Insurance Group for workers' comp dividends. We've actually seen that the last year or two. Hopefully that continues, but we don't really count on that, so we book it as we get it. Any questions on revenues at all?
What was the workman's comp dividends? Is that because we didn't use it workman's comp, or like how does that work?
No, our workers' comp program self-funded through our insurance group, and when they start building up a large enough reserve, they have an option of applying it to the rates for their members, or they could keep it in the balance if they want to, or in this case, they decided to distribute some of the increased reserves among the members just to help out.
That's awesome.
Okay, so that's just a snapshot of comparing the adopted budget to first interim. You'll see we're now at $105,886,000 in revenues. And then this is just the same summary graph. Most of our funding does come from property taxes, as you can see at the 75% rate. And then moving on to expenditures, our overall expenditures increased by just under $5.6 million. Part of that, the certificated salaries increased by $2.2 million. A big portion of that is the negotiated salary increases, just over $1.5 million for the salary schedule increases and also one-time payments for both our certificated teachers and also our certificated management positions. In addition, we did have some additional positions that we added after we adopted the budget. We did add a additional TK teacher. We added an additional .4 assistant principal at Alder Creek Middle School. And then there was also a couple of other positions in special ed that were being used to backfill paid leaves, so we've added that to the mix as well. We increased our sub cost by about $128,000, and that was just comparing how we ended last year at the end of the year and increasing it up a little bit so we can account for that. And then there was additional extra duty and stipends that were also added as well. On the classified salary increases, that went up by $937,000. And we did have some vacancy savings, but a lot of that was offset with other things, some added special ed IA positions, as well as some additional overtime and extra duty. But the biggest portion of the increase came from those negotiated salary increases in the one-time payment. So on the benefits side, benefits include everything from our payroll taxes to our health and welfare benefit contributions towards the medical benefits. It would increase by $1.2 million. $545,000 of that was payroll taxes that are associated with the salary increases and the one-time payments. $392,000 increased in our health and welfare benefit contribution, because as you remember, part of the negotiation or the agreement, the tentative agreements and the approved agreements was to increase the district's contribution to the employees' health benefits. So that captures that amount. And then there was just additional payroll liabilities associated with those added positions that I shared before. Our materials and supplies increased by about $213,000. And again, in some of these categories like materials and our professional services and operations, sometimes it's just changing the classification of where we budgeted the money versus where they wanted to move it to spend. So that's the example for the Title I reclassification. We had budgeted in the materials and supplies category about $109,000, and that's been moved to other places like salaries and professional services. And then, of course, I already talked about the local grants and donations, the increases there. That was about $224,000. And then we had an overall increase of about $104,000 in our instructional materials, and that relates to just our annual instructional materials purchases, but also our math adoption. So on the services and operations, that increased by $1.1 million. So that includes everything from travel and conference to consulting agreements to our utilities. So it's a pretty big, broad category. One of the largest increases we saw was in our athletics transportation. Generally, the way we budget is we assume that a lot of our trips for athletic trips will be done in-house. Of course, we're budgeting for fully staffed personnel and transportation. That didn't happen, so we had to rely more on charter services. And the same thing's been happening over the last few years. So we have vacancy savings for positions, and it kind of goes straight into the athletics transportation category. Maintenance repairs, increase of about $73,000. That was actually carryover that they had left over from last year that we booked at first interim. $120,000 increase for professional services related to capital improvements. Really, a lot of that is planning for projects, and we're funding that out of our RDA pass-through. Increase in legal fees of $75,000. And then some of the larger ticket items, we had an increase to our non-public school placement through special ed. That's a resident location that we send them. I can't remember what state they're in now, maybe Utah. That was a $120,000 increase. And then we originally budgeted for ASL interpreters. Unfortunately, we could not employ any. We couldn't get any through our open vacancies, so we had to contract for that service, and it's quite expensive, so we did increase our contracted services by about $224,000. And then we also engaged with a parcel tax consultant because Measure AA will be coming up for expiration in the 2027-28 school year after that year. So we're looking at options for renewing that. And then on one other significant note is our contributions, and that's our contributions that we make from our unrestricted side of the general fund to our restricted programs, which include maintenance and also special ed. We saw a pretty large increase there, and that was a result of increases to special education from salary increases, but also from some of those added positions that I mentioned, and then also our Measure AA programs. So as our salaries increase, our contribution to that program increases as well. And that's just a snapshot of where we were and where we're at now, just a little bit over 109 million total in our general fund expenditures. And again, looking at our expenditure pie chart here, I believe it's about 83% is dedicated to salaries and benefits. That's our biggest expense. And then looking at the bottom line here, so our first interim reserve for economic uncertainty is at $14,482,000. That leaves us at about a 13.28% reserve. At budget adoption, we originally projected at $16,650,845, but of course that was prior to negotiations, and we didn't add anything in the budget to account for that. So a bulk of that, the deficit that we see now of $1.6 million is a result of salary increases. And we did talk about that when we approved the agreements. At the time, we thought it would be more in the $1.2 million deficit window. That did increase because of some of the additional expenditures that I mentioned earlier in the presentation.
I'd like to just take a quick break for Chris to have some chocolate to go past that last line, but we're going to...
13% is a little bit below my comfort level, but I understand why we took the money to invest in our staff. But I'm just saying, it's like, oh, okay, we may continue.
Okay, just to look at our fund balances for our restricted and unrestricted side, a little over 8.5 is the estimate for the ending balance of our restricted programs. On the unrestricted side, again, the reserve just about 14.4 million. And then our reserve cash for stored and prepaid expenses, that number's a lot bigger than it's been in the past, $929,000, but that's because we have a 7-year math adoption that we've fully paid for, and we need to recognize, we can only recognize that expense annually for that entire 7 years. So basically, we hold this as a prepaid expense until we move it into the actual expense category year after year. So eventually, that'll start to go down. And then we have about 1.3 million in our designated reserves, which includes our instructional materials reserve, our bus and technology reserve funds. So on the multi-year side, I won't go through all of these, but our property taxes, we continue to try to be conservative with those out years, 3.25% next year, and then 2.75% in 27-28. We will see increases to those charter school and lieu tax payments based on the current LCFF model. So about just under $40,000 increase in 26-27, and then an additional $81,000 in the next year. We expect to see increases to our transportation reimbursement of about $140,000 each year as our costs continue to increase. We do not expect any one-time discretionary fund, any more one-time discretionary funding from the state. However, there is a lot of talk that there potentially could be some in the next fiscal year, but we have to wait and see on that. And that's about all we have there. Arts and music in schools will be an ongoing thing that we receive. And then again, we do not receive any revenue specifically for Universal TK. On the expense side, We include the average step and column that we see for certificated staff and classified staff. The CalSTRS employer contribution rate has remained steady at 19.1%. And then our CalPERS employer contribution rates have actually started to decrease a little bit, which is good news. I don't know how reliable it's going to be. It depends on the investments of CalPERS, but originally we were seeing that escalate over the years, over the next several years, to just about 30%. So our expected contribution rate for next year is at 26.4, which is about 0.5% less than what we included in our adopted budget. And then 26.9 the following year. That was supposed to be more like 27.5. So, and remember, those percentages apply to every dollar earned of the regular pay. And then we've been doing this for the last few years, but we're kind of at the end of it. We will be moving back some certificated and classified staff that's being funded with some other funding sources temporarily, specifically the educator effectiveness and our Medi-Cal funds. We'll be moving those staff back to the unrestricted general fund in 26-27, and that includes some district support staff and then also some of our wellness staff, which are funded in Medi-Cal this year. And then the expectation is we will continue to see an increase in our contributions to the Measure AA programs. We do have some more instructional material adoptions that will be taking place over the next couple of years. So we've included some numbers for that. We don't really know what the total cost is going to be, but I'm just placeholding some amounts. So looking at the multi-year projection here, the reserve in highlights, we're at 14.4 this year at 13.28%. Next year, we see a slight decline to the amount, 14.3 million, or almost 14.4. And then it starts to grow in that third year out. So we start to see the reserve build back up, and it goes up to 13.62%. Oops. So next, what's coming is the governor's January budget proposal, which we'll be attending presentations on that in January, and trying to see what the governor has in store. Hopefully there's some mention of some one-time money. Of course, we won't be able to rely on that until the budget is finally adopted in June. Our second interim report will be presented in March, and then the May revise, which is kind of like the final governor's budget, will be in early May. Any questions?
Thank you very much for that, Mr. Rivera. Thank you, Jane. Any comments or questions from the board? Ooh,
Only
Pat.
thanks for all the hard work on this. Thank you and your team for putting all of this together. Really putting it into language and presentations that I can understand, and I appreciate that very much. Thanks.
We always say thank you to the team that does that, and we also appreciate the creativeness and some of those things that, yeah, we don't understand all of it. But anyway, that you do a lot of those wand waving, which is really good.
Just one additional comment.
Oh, Danielle,
Just
sorry.
specific to the reserve, since I think we kind of had some question about that. I mean, we knew that it would go down a little bit, but we also recognize it's going back up. So by the third year, it's already increasing to 3.62. And we know that this isn't always set in stone, right? Everything's changing and in flux, and having to work in multiple budget years would blow my mind. But I feel like your team does such an awesome job in balancing all of that and putting in placeholders where they're necessary so that the reserve is still being considered each time we talk about this. So I think that's great.
That's what I was trying to say, Todd, but I didn't say it. Okay, this is an action item, so would someone care to make a motion on 11.2?
I'll move to approve the 11.2, the first interim budget for 2025-26.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Moving on to 11.3. Thank you for that, Todd and your team. Superintendent Kramer, back to you.
And back to Mr. Rivera.
Thank you. So a requirement of Government Code Section 50075.1 is that any public agency that is imposing a special tax, local tax measure is required to provide an annual report of the revenues and expenses that were collected and expended during that fiscal year. So this is a really simple, basic report. So for Measure AA, our total reported revenue for the 24-25 school year was $5,641,283.21. Our total reported expenditures were $7,042,634.17. So that basically has a net shortfall of $1,401,350.96. So we've talked about this before. When we passed the last Measure A parcel tax, it was not going to cover the entire Measure A program as we had previously allocated. We wanted to maintain those programs and not have to make reductions. So the district has been contributing, and that contribution continues to grow year after year as our staffing costs increase. So that's it.
Any comment? Thank you, Todd. Comments from the board on that Measure AA? I will say that we had talked at length about having all those programs started with Measure AA funding and then realizing that those are important to our program. And so I appreciate the fact that we've actually made some of our budget part of it, because that is part of why we have such great programming, but it's just not able to cover all of it. But I think it's extremely valuable that the Measure AA fund started some amazing things, and then the district itself realized that these are amazing things, and that between the two of us, we've actually been able to put some icing on the cake for some amazing programs within TTUSD. This is another action item, so would anyone care to make a motion for 11.3?
I'll move to approve the 24-25 Measure 2A Annual Financial Report.
And a second. I'm just looking 24-25, so that's last year's. Yeah, thank you.
Oh,
is that correct, Todd?
That's what it says right here.
Okay, yeah, that's correct. So we were right.
On the 25-26 Measure 2A Annual Financial Report.
No, I think it is a 24-25.
Okay.
No, he is right. That's why I was just questioning it.
Confusing.
Sorry, I was questioning. I
Right the
apologize.
first
I'm like,
time.
wait, am we right? So with that, Pat, you did make a motion.
I will second to approve the 2024-2025 Measure AA Annual Financial Report.
Thank you, Chris. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, sorry, Pat, I owe you. 12.0, at this point, do I close, is this our organization? I can just keep going?
Yep, this one,
Okay.
keep going.
So this is organizational meeting, election of officers, and register of public agencies. Do you need to speak on any of this, or can we just proceed?
You may just proceed, President, really.
Okay, this is the organizational meeting where I know we've talked a lot about it, in terms of keeping we can do whatever we want for our president and our clerk. Is there any discussion on the table for anyone who would like to be board president?
Well, no one has come to me and asked for my support, other than Ms. Driller. So does anyone else have intention to be board president this next?
Not yet, not yet.
Okay.
It's not a yet. Okay, well, I will be happy to do it for this next year.
Thank you.
Thank you very
So
much.
Do we have to formally nominate and?
Do we do one, or can we do them all at the same time? Lupita, can I do one at a time, or can I do both? Okay, so I will accept the nomination for president. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Moving on.
You would think we know how to do this by now.
Okay, that was a good one. I'm
Thank
sorry
you,
we
Ms.
didn't
Driller, for
we didn't talk
taking
about
this
that one
on
beforehand.
Another turn.
Okay, it's not done yet. So would anyone care to be clerk of the board? I would nominate Chris, but is anyone else interested? Seeing none, I would make the motion to approve Chris Hennessy as our clerk for the board. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Okay, good. That's an affirmative. Now, we're not done yet. The most important one, the Register of Public Agencies. In the past, we've had trustee, oh,
That's on a separate item. That would be 12.3. So then I'm your secretary.
the Register of Public Agencies?
Yep, I think we're all set. Is there
Oh,
anything
okay, so
else
then I
looking at
registered,
that?
okay, thank you. I'm sorry, I thought that was.
Nope. Yep, that's in
My fault. Okay, so
12.3.
Kirsten Kramer, we approved you. Okay,
Okay,
those
thank
are
you.
all approved. Everyone okay with Secretary Kramer? Moving. Aye. Moving on to 12.2, the dates for the 26 board meeting calendar. Were there any comments or changes to that in our homework?
It looks good. I was just thinking, though, that at some point we committed to coming back and reassessing the 5 versus 7 days of snow days built in, because I'm getting a lot more parents interested in having our February break back.
Yep.
So I think they're kind of looking at this snow year as what's going to happen. And I said, well, we needed a couple years of a model to figure out if we really needed to have 7 days or 5. So I just didn't want that to fall off our radar.
So should we schedule that for a time, or is that something that we'll just?
So every year, Mr. Shepherd leads the calendar committee, so we'll gather data during Ski Skate again this year, look at how many snow days total, and usually in May, he convenes that group, and we can have that discussion about if we want to go back to the 5 additional snow days built in the calendar and what we'd like to do about Ski Skate Week.
Okay.
Is that, okay.
Thank you, Danielle.
Because January hasn't happened yet.
Oh, yeah.
We've learned about January.
Moving on to organizational meeting C. Oh, this is in action.
Yep.
Oh, my gosh, it is in action. Would anyone care to make a motion to ratify the dates for 26 board meeting calendar? I'll make a motion to approve the dates for the board calendar. Is there? Thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Kirsten Kramer, for reminding me that it was in action. And now we'll go to C. 12.3 is Committee on School District Organization.
And that's what you.
Now, I'm going to get Kirsten in the back. This school district organization requires that we have one board member actively on this committee, and I'm sure you've been familiar with what it takes. Would you be willing to do this again?
Absolutely.
Marvelous. Anyone opposed to having?
Yay, thank you.
Pat, you're next, but just so you know. I will make a motion to continue having Trustee Levac on the School District Organization Committee.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you very much. Way to go. 13.0 is donations. Superintendent Kramer.
For this item, we're going to turn to our Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services, Mrs. Shawn Broderick.
Thank you, Superintendent Kramer. Good evening, President Driller, Board of Trustees, and community. Tonight, I'm pleased to present a generous donation from the Truckee Elementary PTO in the amount of $17,250. This donation is a testament to the strong partnership between our families and our school. These funds are specifically designated to purchase classroom materials for every grade level at Truckee Elementary. This includes everything from consumable art and writing supplies to durable instructional aids that facilitate hands-on learning. It is the staff's recommendation that the Board of Trustees accepts this generous donation from Truckee Elementary PTO.
Thank you for that, Ms. Roderick. Is there any comments or questions from the board on this item? I will say it's nice that the PTOs are actually, they're involved and they understand what's going on and they are willing to do this, so that's great. This is an action item. Pat, did you have any questions before I jumped on you? Okay. Would someone care to make a motion on 13 point?
I'll move
Thank
to
you.
accept the grant, the donation from Truckee Elementary PTO for Truckee Elementary classrooms for all grades, materials for all grades.
Yep, and with much gratitude, I'd second that.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you very much. And again, always with amazing gratification. 13.2, Superintendent Kramer.
For this item, we'll turn to our Executive Director of Student Services, Dr. Anna Marie Cohen.
Wait, excuse me, wasn't she the one who won an award this evening?
Yes.
I thought so.
Thank you, Superintendent Kramer. President Driller, Board of Trustees, and community, the Truckee Optimist Club generously donated $1,000 to our Early Learning Department for early learning enrichment opportunities. This donation will be used to support field trips, parent incentives, and items for the teen closet. It is staff's recommendation the Board of Trustees accept this generous donation from the Optimist Club of Truckee. Are there any questions?
Thank you for that, Dr. Cohen. Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to accept the donation and to thank the Truckee Optimist Club once again for their amazing support for early learning enrichment programs.
Second.
Thank you, Pat. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Great. Moving on to 14.0 grant.
Mrs. Roderick?
Thank you, Superintendent Kramer. The Martis Community Foundation has generously awarded a $15,000 grant for the Sachin Outdoor Education Program. The Sachin Outdoor Education Program is a program within the Tahoe Truckee Unified School District and is organized by volunteer efforts of 2 retired fifth-grade teachers. This is a unique outdoor education program for several reasons. Outdoor educators teach classes from 2 local nonprofit organizations, Sierra Watershed Education Partnerships, and Tahoe Institute of Science. Classes may include local ecosystems of the Sierra Nevada, microinvertebrates, water quality, and plant and animal identification. It is the staff's recommendation the Board of Trustees accepts this generous grant for the Sachin Outdoor Education Program from the Martis Camp community.
Thank you for that. Any comments or questions about this grant? Chrissy, do you want to say that? Okay, so we're very excited about the continuation of outdoor ed over there. But thank you very much, because that is one of our focuses as we move forward in our advancement of Wonderness and Tahoe Truckee. So I will be happy to accept the grant for Martis Camp Foundation for Sagehead Outdoor Education Program. Anyone care to second?
I'll second.
Thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye, thank you. Moving to 14.2, Superintendent Kramer.
Dr. Cohen?
Thank you, Superintendent Kramer. The Tahoe Truckee Community Foundation generously donated $1,000 to assist with the cost of the 2025 Early Learning Conference. This year was the 22nd annual conference featuring Miriam Belglovsky with over 90 attendees. It is staff's recommendation the Board of Trustees accept this generous donation from the Tahoe Truckee Community Foundation. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Dr. Cohen. And seeing no questions, would someone care to make a motion for 14.2?
I'll accept the grant with gratitude from TTCF for the Early Learning Conference 2025.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Awesome. 15.2, Superintendent Kramer, I think you have some news for us on these entities.
So CSEA and TTA both sent us the best and wished us happy holidays, and they weren't able to make the meeting tonight. I do want to recognize that our regional rep, Mr. John Halverson, is here for CTA. I don't know, John, would you like to? Okay. Okay, great, thank you.
I was going to call you out, but you were sitting there quietly. I didn't want to say anything. Thank you for being here, Mr. Halverson. Moving to 16.0, was there any items on the consent agenda that needed to be addressed or pulled, Superintendent Kramer?
Not from staff.
Board, anything that you need to discuss?
Not for me.
Nothing? Okay, at this point, would anyone care to make a motion to approve the consent as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
And
I'll second.
Ooh, tie. Who wants it?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, ladies. Look at that. I do, again, remember that we've all looked at these consent agendas, and everything that's on here has been something that we have discussed and looked at. I will make a note that if you look at 16.6 and 16.7, these events are coming up. We're not doing retroactively, so I'm very appreciative of that. 18.2 is the first read for board policy. Superintendent Kramer.
So for the first one, it's unique for us as an info and action, and Dr. Cohen.
Thank you. Administrative Regulation 5141.31 immunizations has been updated to reflect a directive from the California Department of Education to include language regarding students with disabilities and access to a free appropriate public education, or FAPE. FAPE ensures students with disabilities get necessary education, but doesn't override immunization laws. However, students cannot be excluded from school, including access to extracurricular activities and athletics, for not meeting those requirements if they have a disability and an individualized education program or IEP. It is staff's recommendation the board approve the revision to Administrative Regulation 5141.31 immunizations. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Dr. Cohen. Seeing none. I will say that when we were in our board conference, one of the discussions about a solid board being productive is that they continually review our policies. And not only are we getting federal changes on a daily basis, but I will compliment the fact that we have continually asked for policy updates, and you guys have always thrown out, I think we have at every meeting, or every board meeting, we have some, so I appreciate that. This is an action item. Would anyone care to make a motion on 18.1?
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed revisions of administrative regulation for immunizations.
Thank you. In a second?
Second.
Thank you, Pat. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Moving to 18.2, Superintendent Kramer?
For this item, we'll turn to our Executive Director of Human Resources, Mr. Michael Shepard.
Yahoo.
Thank you, Superintendent Kramer, President Driller, Board of Trustees. This policy is being updated as part of CSBA's process to regularly review policy documents that otherwise would not be revised due to no applicable changes in law, regulations, or new guidance or other directives, and is amended to, 1, clarify that it is the academic achievement, personal growth, and well-being of district students, in addition to the success of district programs, that hinges on district personnel, and 2, reflect the California Labor Management Initiative's resource guidebook, Building Partnerships to Create Great Public Schools, which provides guidance to support education leaders in developing labor management partnerships that benefit students, staff, and the community. Staff's recommending that you approve the changes to this board policy 4000.
Thank you. I didn't really realize that I was speaking before you, and then CSBA already got us. Any comments or, this is info only, so this is just the first read. Thank you very much. Are we okay bringing this back to consent?
Yes.
Thank you for that. And moving on to 19.0, board business. At this point, I'm going to recess the regularly scheduled TTUSD board meeting to hold the annual meeting of the Tower Truck Unified School District Financing Corporation. This is an action item. I'll turn it over to you, Superintendent Kramer.
And Mr. Rivera will help us with this item.
Get us through this.
Thank you. So in your packet, you do have the steps. So the first step, of course, is to recess the regular board meeting and then call the TTUSD Financing Corporation to order. And then after that point, you would be just following the agenda items.
Marvelous. For some reason, I don't have that printed. So I will then just, at this point, I will recess, and then I'm going to just call the TTUSD Financing Corporation to order. And then, the agenda. There we go. At this point, we would need to approve the agenda. If everyone's comfortable with the Financing Corporation agenda, would anyone care to make a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Perfect. Thank you. In a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. At this point, we need to approve the prior minutes from, okay, this is all was in our homework, so we looked at this before. I'm sorry, I kept remembering this. Approve.
Dee Dee, I'm just noting that it's an action for 19.1, or am I misreading that?
We're going through, yeah, I have to go
Okay.
through the whole thing. I didn't get all that.
Awesome.
Thank gosh. Don't be shy.
Okay, just checking.
Item 3 is we're going to approve the prior meeting minutes from the December 18th, 2024 annual meeting. Could I get a motion to approve the minutes from the December 18, 2024 meeting? I'll make a motion to approve the prior meeting minutes from December 18, 2024. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I apologize for this. This is definitely part of protocol, and it's one of those things that we have to just do, and it's, item number 4 is to report on the status of projects and debt financing. Would that be something that I could ask?
Yes. So the Financing Corporation in the district issued certificates of participation with a par amount of $40 million in September of 2019. The total proceeds came out to be, because we did earn a premium on that, $43,963,559, of which $43,469,000 went into the project fund for facilities projects, and then the remaining $494,000 was part of the cost of issuance. In The 2019 proceeds were fully expended in the 2023-24 year, so there's no longer any project funds available from those COPs. As far as the debt status, as of June 30th, 2025, there was $22,165,000 in outstanding premium and an principal, and an estimated $9,429,600 in interest payments remaining.
Sorry. We appreciate all that work. I think we talked about this when we were at the conference as well, that having the ability to make money on what we've done has been phenomenal. We're really lucky that we're in this situation. Thank you for that information. Any comments or questions from the board on that one? Item number 5 is appointment of new officers.
So the way it typically works, and you just determined this for the next year, is that our current board president, so President Driller, would become the president of the corporation, and then the current clerk would be the treasurer and secretary. And then all we need is a vice president. So that part is.
What do you think?
I believe last year it was
Vice
Pat.
President?
Yeah,
Pat?
I think it was
Vice
Pat last year.
President, way to go. Thank you so much, Pat. With that, do we need to make a motion, or we're just going to, okay, we'll just approve. Is everyone okay with Pat being the vice president? Marvelous.
Yes.
Thank you. Jane, here's your chance, or Beth, any public comment on our financial, bless you, financing corporation? Seeing, Sean, and you have any comments? Okay. And Kirsten's done. We're done with those comments. Seeing none, I will close public comment. Any other business in our financing corporation, Todd, that we need to address?
No other business.
Besides a raise for you? Okay. Seeing no more other business, I will close other business and move to item 8, which is adjournment. I will close the financing corporation annual meeting, and reconvene the Tower Truckee Unified School District Board meeting at 7:16. And at this point, we are going to go to 19.3 comments of board members. Hello, what'd I do?
President, we need to take action on the reconvened TTUSD board meeting, please.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, doggone it. Who is the clerk that's supposed to be helping me out with these additions?
I should be helping you.
I second.
Thank goodness. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, way to go. Thank you very much for that. Now, we can do info only, 19.3, board comments. Rochambeau, Pat had to go first last time. Danielle, will you take the heat?
Sure, I don't have much other than I'm going to go see the Nutcracker on Friday with our local production, so that'll be super fun. And in looking at the agenda tonight, it did catch my eye about the interpreter services, that there has to be some student in our district that's interested in doing translation, because that would be a killer job.
Can I tell you, watching those ladies over
Yeah.
there? I don't even know how, and whoever spoke, someone spoke, we weren't allowed to tell anyone to not speak, but whoever was speaking with such rapidness, those ladies were, I don't know how they did it.
Yeah, I mean, I think any translation that you do, I just think that sometimes, we get stuck in our minds about what kind of jobs are available out there, and I think interpretation is just such a strong field to go into, so putting a plug in for that.
Well, Danielle, have you ever, anywhere you go, in some of these big meetings, there's somebody in the bottom, I spend more time looking at that, so you could go places.
Well, I am having to learn some because my daughter's doing sign language through Sierra College, and so she's at the table sometimes doing stuff, and I have to remind myself, okay, what is she saying? Because she's learning, so she has to practice, so now I'm learning, sort of by default.
Well, Danielle, if you do ever decide to retire from the town, there's your new job. Okay.
Didn't we say we needed to hire somebody?
Yes. Chris, what do you got?
Okay, first of all, my apologies for all the crazy silliness toward the end of the meeting. I don't know what's happened. We know protocol. We understand the Brown Act. I don't know what's happening. So, but I just wanted to put that out there. Okay, so I, like all of you, I attended the CSBA conference a week and a half ago, sort of, about a week and a half ago. It was really great. In preparation for what you requested, to let you know what workshops we attended. I was looking over my notes, and I hope we have a collective moment at some point to go over them, because I got a lot of really good stuff. And AI was prominent in all of the days, which is very fitting with the work that we're visiting and looking into in the district with all of our AI work. And along with that, I attended our AI steering committee meeting last week to kind of go over our first community AI meeting and prep for our upcoming January AI. What is the proper name for the community one? I know
We're calling it the AI Board Policy Work Group.
Thank you for that work group. So, so the fact that the conference kind of aligned with that was really exciting for me, and it also reminded me that we have the, you know, our pulse on what's happening for our students and the districts throughout. And the other thing I got from that conference, which I was thinking of when Mr. Rivera was giving his presentation, is this tagline of "No more mandates without funding." That is just such common sense that I hope we can accomplish that. Okay, and then, let's see, one last item. In our consent agenda, you know, when we approved the trips for CSU SAC and CSU Sonoma for the North Tahoe High School students, part of what came out of that conference for me, visiting all of the trade school vendors, is I would really, and I know we need to talk so that you can see if it's something that would go along with CTE, but I took a really exciting field trip of an 18-wheeler from an HVAC company that was so impressive, and I sure would like an opportunity to talk about that and see if we can get them up here the next career day for next year, maybe. And again, just brainstorming, I'm not telling you do this, okay? But it was so impressive and so aligns with bringing the trades back into the educational conversation, excuse me, as well as visiting their training facilities in Sacramento, just not even just HVAC, but any trade that we're hearing from our students they have interest in. I think it's just as valuable as going to a college or university. So, but other than that, y'all, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate, take some time to just regroup. And yeah, thank you.
I just wanted to also say thank you for to Kirsten and to Chris and to Dee Dee for organizing the party that we had on Monday night. Was it? Wow, okay.
Feels like a long time.
Yeah, it does. Over at Spindleshanks, that's kind of a tongue twister, but in Kings Beach, the venue was really intimate, really perfect. The food was unbelievable. And I think we all just had a really nice time just hanging out for a couple hours and just getting a chance to decompress. So thank you for the wonderful idea. And other than that, that's it. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Kirsten.
I attended the Alder Creek Middle School winter concert last week, and I am always amazed by the progress the sixth grade band makes at that time. You know, you see them in the first concert in the fall, and they're playing what is it, hot cross buns or something? You know, it's the old standard for the first year. And they came back 2 months later, and it was a whole different scene. They played so well, and they played real music, not hot cross buns. Well, I know it's a song, but you know. The other bands also played extremely well. The jazz band was really outstanding. I'll put in a plug for the seventh grade band, of course. They were fantastic. The flute section, especially. It's all attributed to the work that Ms. Natalia Tomasello, the band director over there, does with those kids. And I think it's just remarkable what she does with such young kids to provide them with this passion and love for music and to extract the talent out of these kids, that they're so good. It's really, Natalia, if you're watching, thank you. You're doing a great job. And it was a great concert. I loved it. Yeah.
Thank you. I always hate missing those. I'm hoping to go tomorrow to the North Tahoe one. Love it when they come up and tell us what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, that's always really good. And I do want to thank Matt for being here. Thank you for shouting out our students first off. That's like why we're here, but that was bringing it back. But thank you very much for being here in person. That really made a big deal for us. And obviously, all your support helping us get through this interesting scenario. Measure AA Steering Committee, was on that just last week and this, we had two. I missed the second one, yes. But again, just love the fact that we are just going forward with keeping Measure AA alive and well. I think Amber's done a great job getting our community involvement. We're getting it everywhere. So thank you for that. And then CSBA was awesome. I had a blast doing it, learned a bunch of different things, learned not so how great we are, but how fortunate we are that we have got what we've got. Like, I think we went into some of these workshops, thank you, hoping to find like anything new that we hadn't heard or hadn't done. And not that we are perfect by any stretch, but really reaffirm the fact that when people were getting golden bells, we're like, wow, we've done that. Like, we do that. So really hats off to our district, just in terms of we may not go out and gloat our bloat and get the awards. We don't really need to, because we've got great students. Was in Kings Beach the other day. One kid came home for Thanksgiving. One child from North Tahoe, no names, but neurobiology and something. I was like, where did you, what? So this is one of our high school kids that is now UC Davis, doctoral of neurobiology. I'm like, did you learn that here? Just so know that there's so many different things you can get out of these conferences, and one, I didn't get lost and no one left me behind, which was good. Colder in Sacramento than it was here, absolutely horrifying. But there's just fun things to come out of it, and I think I get rejuvenated because I think that we are lucky. We don't have a lot of the other different things that are happening in other places, but I do appreciate the fact that we are going down there to learn, to see, like sitting at a table with people who are like, oh, we had this happen. I'm like, oh my God, you did? Like, we have a bear that comes, and so we lock our doors, but that's, to hear other stuff is really good. But with that, 7:26, I'm going to adjourn our meeting.